What is good, JayMike talk, and today we're going to talk about broken football boots and what to do with them if you find yourself in a really unlucky situation where you're out playing and all of a sudden your boots start falling apart. And if you do that, you'd be forgiven for thinking, hey, I've got some super glue and some tape at home. I can fix this. But the thing is that despite none of us wanting to play with sole separation or a lace hole snapping, or if you have a really crappy day, a stud falling off, well, the truth is that going for the quick fix isn't necessarily the best idea. And today, I'll tell you why and what you should do instead. But if you have got an unlucky day and your boots start to fall apart, well, there would be a few common ways to fix them. For instance, using either super glue or tape to hold them together for a little longer. Because we usually see boots breaking here with sole separation around the toe box. And here it would be pretty easy to just take some super glue, slab a bit in the hole, and then hold the boots together with some clamps overnight and basically be done with the problem, at least for a little while. And I've even seen some of my teammates actually taking tape and wrapping it around the boots here to just kind of be done with the problem for the short term to keep them together for a little bit longer. And you gotta hand it to people when it comes to actually prolonging their life of their football boots. Well, they do get pretty creative. But Jay, apart from just normal wear and tear, why do football boots actually break? Well, I would say that there are two main reasons. The first one being a manufacturing fault. Thankfully, they don't happen that often. But what the brands do when they build their boots is to use a very strong bonding process with a really hefty super glue and then heat pressing it all together to make sure that you have a really strong bond between the different elements. But of course, making as many boots as the brands do, sometimes you just get a little bit unlucky. Now, the other reason is if you're using your boots in the wrong way. For instance, using your FG boots on an AG surface, because the abrasion here is simply going to be too much for the otherwise super strong bonding, so it's going to fall apart. And if you've used your boots in the wrong way and they break, well, you, my friend, you're out of luck. But I'm going to get back to that later. But back to the big question, can and should you fix your football boots if they fall apart? Well, as I explained earlier, yes, you can. You can fix them short term, but you really shouldn't, because no matter how strong a glue you're gonna use, well, the boots are gonna fall apart again eventually, and you might actually risk doing even more damage if you tried to fix them yourself. Because no glue will be strong enough to hold the boots together for a longer time period. And that is because you get all these strong movements that you do in football, both when it comes to sole separation and also especially if you're really unlucky that a stud falls off. And if it does that, well, you, my friend, you're out of luck. Now, of course, that also applies to using tape. Because not only will you have to replace it now and again, you might actually also damage the upper when you pull it off because of the adhesives. And then there's another issue, because performance-wise, if you suffer structural damage to your boots, you're not gonna get the same responsiveness or the stability that you want, because the elements simply aren't connected anymore like they're supposed to. So you're simply gonna play in a football boot that performs worse. So what you should do instead of fixing it yourself is to reach out to the store where you bought them. Because if you're within the 2-year warranty and you've used the boots correctly and on the correct surface, you might just get a replacement pair. And that is where the warranty is pretty wicked to cover you if you suffer a manufacturing fault. And if you do, you should always reach out to the store where you bought your boots, that could be us at unisportstore.com, to see if your warranty still applies. However, there is a problem if you haven't used your boots in the correct way. For instance, using FG boots on AG pitches, or in any way amending or tampering with your boots, because the warranty doesn't cover using your boots in that way. They're simply not made for being used like that. So since fixing your own boots kinda technically falls into the amending your own boots category, well, you can kinda do the math, and you might risk losing your warranty if you do it yourself. In other words, I generally think it's a pretty bad idea fixing your boots yourself. Unless, of course, you stood in a super desperate, really last resort situation where you need to fix them right here, right now to actually use them, and you're okay with it just being for the last resort. Or, of course, your warranty has expired, in which case I would just go and buy new boots instead. So to sum things up, can you fix your football boots yourself if they fall apart? Well, yes, obviously you can, but I would strongly advise you not to, unless of course you're 100% cool with it just being for the very short term and also potentially voiding your warranty. If you are, you can go and do it. I just would never try to fix my own boots. But guys, let me know what your worst boot breaking horror nightmare story is in the comment section right down below. And while you're at it, you can go and subscribe to our channel to get even more awesome boot advice and potentially even go and watch our video on how to treat your football boots properly by clicking down here. And with that said, I'm signing off. Cheerio.